And more on our top story, Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong hinting at more support measures in the pipeline for families and couples looking to be parents. With a dragon year soon to come, let's talk more about what the year typically means for births and the socio-economic impact that might bring. We're with us Sumit Agarwal, Professor of Finance, Economics and Real Estate at the NUS Business School, and Shalini Mittal, Principal Economist of Asia at EIU. Thanks so much for joining us this evening. Professor, you have studied, I suppose, cohorts of so-called dragon babies. It might be auspicious to be born in the year of the dragon, but simply because there are more children, in principle, that means more competition for schools, things are more expensive, all these things that parents need to take into account. Are there challenges we need to be aware of?
Yes. I mean, we looked at data from Singapore from 1960 all the way to 2010, and we found birth rates in that time period during dragon years go up by 10% on average. And then we also looked at what are the economic consequences. Typically, the labor market outcomes are worse off because people who are born in dragon years tend to earn around 6% less than children who are not born in dragon years for their lifetime, from age 20 to age 50. So essentially, there's a lifetime effect, both because of education, because of the higher demand for education, but also the labor market. The labor market gets tightened because there are more people looking for jobs, and as a result, it lowers the wages.
All right, Ms. Mittal, hearing this rather sobering figures from the professor there, so a lifetime disadvantage if you are born in the year of the dragon. How big a spike do you expect to see for births in this dragon year?
Well, if you look at the data, actually, I will agree with Professor Sumit on this. The total fertility rate has been declining consistently over the last couple of decades. It has declined from 1.29 to 1.04 in 2022 compared to the last dragon year, and it's the lowest ever. Number of births per thousand has declined from 99.5 births per thousand female in 2012 to 86.7 births, and this is for the 30 to 34 year-old females cohort. What this means is that women are preferring to have children at a later stage, but also fewer women are preferring to have childbirth at all. And the median age for women to have their first child has increased from 30.2 to 31.4. Now, what that means for the spike in dragon year? Interestingly, the spike for the dragon year has actually been reducing over the last couple of decades. It was 21% in the 80s, and it has reduced to 7.5% in the last dragon year, which was 2012. Now, at the EIU, we are expecting this spike to be much worse this year. And the reason for this is that Singapore society has evolved. It is more educated. Women are having babies at a later age, which means that their biological clock takes precedence over choosing a zodiac sign for a baby, which occurs once in 12 years. Women's fertility rate has peaked in the 30 to 34 age group in 2022 compared to what it was in the 80s. Also, like Professor Sumit said, that parents of dragon babies have to compete over limited resources, such as primary school placements, books, etc., which also acts as a deterrent amid high cost of living pressures.
There certainly is a lot to consider when one is thinking about starting a family and growing that family as well. And all families do need support. Professor Agarwal, Budget day is fast approaching, and the Prime Minister has already hinted at support for families, something that has been ongoing over many years here in Singapore. Could announcements potentially bump up the numbers of those dragon babies more than a typical year?
I think so. I mean, I think, look, I would agree that the increase in dragon babies may not be 10%, maybe 5-6%, but still there will be an increase. And as a result, the government would have to step in. But I think we don't need the stepping in just to provide direct support to the families, but long-term support to the system in terms of educational resources, and in terms of labor market resources. And what I worry going forward 20 years when these dragon babies will be in the labor market, technology and AI will be a bigger part. And so the labor market will be even more tighter because now they are not just competing with each other, they are also competing with technology and higher productivity and efficiency that the market will be demanding.
Ms. Mittal, the Prime Minister himself acknowledged the fact that to have a child is a very personal choice. How far can government incentives and those programs to assist parenthood really go in encouraging more couples to have children?
Well, they definitely play some role. I can't deny that. But you have to understand that it's very expensive to raise a child in Singapore. It's not just the cost of raising a child, which can range from 200,000 Singapore dollars to even more than $1 million Singapore dollars, depending on your income levels. It's also the other costs, the cost of buying a house, rent, affordability, etc. Now, the government has provided a number of incentives over the last couple of years, like doubling of the paternity leave from 2 weeks to 4 weeks, higher cash incentives, which has increased by about 30 to 40%, and also increasing the age of egg freezing, for instance, from 35 to 37 years. But that is not enough. The government needs to understand that the Singapore society is changing and it is evolving. Egg freezing, for instance, is currently restricted to only married women. But Singapore women are marrying late and even further delaying the childbirth process. So by the time they are married and ready to have egg freezing, they are already probably trying for childbirth. Higher house prices also act as a deterrent. Studies have indicated that a 1% increase in house prices significantly reduces total fertility rate. Younger generation are delaying the entire marriage process to buy houses and hence delaying childbirth. If you look at Singapore's fertility rate, it's lowest among Southeast Asian countries and even lowest after South Korea at 1.05. And it's far less than the replacement fertility rate of 2.1 required for an increasing population trend.
Thanks so much, both of you, for joining us this evening. So a bit of a bump, perhaps not a massive spike, though, in the number of births for this dragon year. Professor Sumit Agarwal from NUS and Shalini Mittal, Principal Economist of Asia at EIU. Thank you.